Hi, it's Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and in today's video, I'm going to make this a little bit more of a beginner-friendly video. This is going to be a video that talks about comic book vocabulary, comic book jargon, abbreviations, acronyms, things like that you might be curious what they mean. And some of you guys probably know all these already. That's totally fine. Some of you guys might not know any of this stuff. That's also totally fine. This is all stuff that's designed to kind of get everybody up to speed. I wanted to make this video because I get the questions a lot like, hey, what does FOC mean? And that's one of the ones that we'll go over in today's video. If you are new to comic books, maybe you're looking for a good place to buy comic books, and I want to talk to you about today's sponsor for this video, and that's DangerousWatersComics.com. They're a new store, and I think they have a lot of great deals. You can go check it out. They have trade paperbacks, art prints, new comic books. They're currently running a deal where all DC comic books are 50% off, which is totally awesome. I always prefer to support small businesses. I don't really have any LCSs around me, so I go to online stores, and I tend to support some of the smaller online comic book stores that are out there. It just really is cool to support a smaller business because you know you're giving to somebody where it's really going to make a difference. And I do want to let you know that at any time you can go over there and use my discount code, which is Bronze10, to save 10% off your order. I want to invite all of you to head over to Dangerous Waters Comics and More, where you can live dangerously. Okay, so what do some of these comic book terms mean? I'm going to start off with the one I get the question about the most, which is FOC. What the hell is FOC? Is it FOC? What does that mean? Actually, FOC sounds pretty cool. I don't mind if you call it that. Fuck you. You little fucker. FOC stands for Final Order Cutoff. And this is simply where people who have Diamond accounts, Lunar accounts, Penguin accounts coming up for Marvel, this is when they need to have their order in for the comics they're buying. So you think about it, they order their comic books well ahead of when you can buy them. And a lot of stores have they send out an FOC list and you fill it out for your pull box or your pull list. And that's where those orders come from. And then they'll order, you know, maybe a few more on comic books they think are going to be hot. It's very similar to like a pre-order. But yeah, FOC is just Final Order Cutoff, and it's when you have to have your orders due as a comic book seller to get your comic books to sell. FOMO. What is FOMO? FOMO, very simply, is the fear of missing out. And it's essentially this phenomenon that happens when you see others around you doing something and you don't want to be left behind. You don't want a comic book, for example, in this particular context, to go up in value when you didn't buy one and you get caught sleeping. That's the general idea of FOMO. And I actually have a video about FOMO that I'll link above. That's kind of an interesting take on it and why I think it's not necessarily always a bad thing. But you should just know that FOMO is basically a psychological phenomenon that, by the way, is talked about and it extends beyond comic books. It's just that it specifically applies to comic books these days a lot of times. Okay, a spine tick. What is a spine tick? It's not some sort of weird bug that can infest your comic books. It's actually a crease on the spine of the comic book. And the most common creation of a spine tick is you think about a newsstand where comic books were stored in a rack, and kids or whoever was shopping for them would pull the comic books in front, bending them over the wire rack, and generally when that happened, it created spine ticks on the comic books that were getting bent. So a spine tick is a crease, usually a color breaking crease if you're talking about a spine tick itself, although there are non-color breaking spine ticks. Generally non-color breaking spine ticks usually press out. That's not a universal truth, but usually they press out. Where a color breaking spine tick is something where the cover of the comic book has been dented, ripped, or destroyed, and usually that's going to be something where you can't bring the comic book back to a higher condition through cleaning or pressing. I don't want to use the word restored because that's actually a completely different thing when it comes to comic books, generally speaking. Although somebody might restore a spine tick by trying to color it in with paint, markers, or other media, and restoration is generally viewed as being a bad thing when it comes to that type of restoration. It's not really preserving the comic book, it was more trying to hide a flaw. Anyways, that's kind of an extra credit item right there. 9.8. You hear about 9.8 grades all the time. What is a 9.8? Well, a lot of people actually get this wrong, by the way. A 9.8 doesn't mean near mint. That's not what near mint is. 9.4 is the designation that CGC uses for the only grade that is just labeled near mint. Now, all these labels go back to comic book price guides from decades ago, the most famous, of course, being the Overstreet price guide. And they're basically just a way to quantify the condition of a comic book. But a 9.8, what does that stand for? It stands for near mint / mint. A lot of the grades kind of include terminology from the grade level below or the grade level above the grade they are. A lot of value gets placed on 9.8s. That's totally up to the buyer. That should be up to you and your personal opinion for what grade matters to you. But I think 9.8s kind of get an artificial amount of prestige. Personally, I actually think of a 9.4 as being where near mint starts. That's the grade that's labeled just plain near mint, and a 9.2 is a near mint minus. So that's also a pretty acceptable grade. Of course, if you have a brand new book, getting a 9 or a 9.2 isn't as exciting as getting a 9.6 or a 9.8 or something, but that's all subjective. So don't let anybody try to shame you for not having a 9.8 or otherwise. But you should know it does factor into the agreed upon prices, or FMV, of the comic book. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, a little bit of an interesting take on things. Did you learn anything in this video? Let me know down below in the comments if you took away any new knowledge from this. Also, let me know if there's any topics you want me to cover. I'll probably answer it really quick in the comments. You know, hey, what does this mean? But I'll probably do another video like this if this one turns out to be kind of popular, and answer some more commonly asked questions about terms. Thanks for watching another one of my videos, and I want to remind you, as always, hey, read comics every day.